Hello, in this video, a sexy bald man wearing racing goggles is going to explain the Team Redline Nurburgring 24 hours cheating scandal. And when I say scandal, believe me guys, this is up there. Oh my god, this is something that everyone should be talking about and really should be aware of, because when I saw what happened, I barely slept last night because I was crying so much and my bed was filled with tears. So if you missed it, what happened is that there's a 24-hour race in iRacing. There's a big event, thousands of people join it. They're organised by the iRating. The people at the top with the highest iRatings end up in a top split. In that top split, you have some top esports teams. You have some of the best teams in the world, some of the best drivers in the world, and one of the top esports teams in sim racing, one of the most famous, is Team Redline. Now, for this race, Team Redline decided to do some shenanigans, shall we say, in terms of the car setup and how they start the race. And this whole process meant that they could exploit the rules that were inherent in the game to basically gain an advantage. It basically involved them being put in incorrect tyres at the start of the race that allowed them to do some setup changes by changing those tyres that then would allow them to have an advantage with car setup once they got going. If you want an in-depth description as to what they actually did, not just a sort of overview for casual people that probably don't really care about this, go and look on the internet, it will be fully explained. But ultimately, what they did was there's rules in the game that Team Redline exploited to gain an advantage. They're rules that anyone could have followed, anyone could have done what Team Redline did, so it's not like a cheat where they installed some malicious code. They did something that's available in the game, an exploit. So thinking Counter-Strike, like maybe if you found a crack in a wall somewhere where you could see what the other team was doing, or maybe you found a way to boost on top of another player, or something that hadn't been seen before in esports, but your team exploited it in the event to get an advantage. It's that kind of a thing. So Team Redline exploited something that was in the game. During the race, one of the iRacing admins pasted the rules of the sporting code, and the rules, as like anything in motorsport and sim racing, are incredibly vague, totally open to interpretation, and basically allow the organisers to do whatever they want, whether or not it's critical, rational, or consistent. They could do whatever they want. So they pasted the rules, and then Team Redline thought into the race, they were like, we'll just quit the race, we'll just stop because we can probably see that people might say that we're cheating or we've got an unfair advantage and it's not worth all the fuss and the hassle. So the drama on this, of course, is the big debate on whether or not they cheated, outright cheated, or whether or not they were just exploiting the rules. We can have a little talk about that and how that can operate and the different interpretations of that if you want us to. Oh no, we will do, because we're making a video and I have to do what you expect. And we're also going to talk about how it's quite funny that a mod was in this event and actually did something in the event. They didn't ban them from the event, but they typed a message in the event. It's quite funny that iRacing had a mod in this event, but they don't really moderate any of their actual racing or do really anything to improve the standard of racing for the most part in your sort of day-to-day races and the bulk of the iRacing service, which we think would be more important given that's what most people are paying to actually play. So the debate on the first issue, were Team Redline cheating? Is it acceptable? It's going to come down into two really big camps, really. I think if you look at motorsports history and also sporting history, you'll have a camp of people that they're like, well, if something is in the rules and, you know, it's not something that's expressly illegal, even if it's pushing the boundaries of the rules and you're in that sort of interpretation zone, many times you'd have to go, look, it's something that's available to everybody. It's, you know, it's why not take advantage of it? They're pushing the boundaries of the sport at the high level, at the top level of a sport. People push the boundaries in motorsport, especially. You know, like the introduction of like aerodynamics, gurney flaps, Michael Schumacher pit lane finishes. You know, it's pretty common in motorsports. It's quite actually interesting to see stuff like this appear in racing sims that actually mirrors the history of motorsport. And it's also quite interesting to see people go absolutely mental about this in sim racing, whereas it's historically celebrated in motorsport. The same people that are getting really miffed off by this are the same people that will be like, oh, Michael Schumacher, we love you. Downforce, what an innovation. 6 wheels. Where's our favourite car? They're the same people, a lot of them, that will be getting really annoyed by this. So I imagine on the esports side and on the competitive side, you'll see a lot of people going, oh, well, fair play, Redline, that was really creative. I imagine they had a bit of a meeting beforehand, before they did it, and they were like, oh, maybe we'll get away with this, maybe we won't. We don't know what iRacing will do because their rules are so ill-defined. Let's give it a go and see what happens. And then, obviously, as it turned out that the admin and some people weren't happy with it. On the other side of the fence, you'll have the people that are... By the way, this isn't a binary issue, but I'm going to make it into a binary issue because it's easier. But by the way, in reality, things are actually more grayscale. But on the other side of the 2-issue fence that I've just created are, of course, the people that would say, look, in the code of conduct, you are doing something that you know that most other people won't be aware of, or that they won't do because a lot of people will feel like it was an unfair advantage, or it's sort of not necessarily a realistic scenario as to what a driver would potentially do in real life, or it's something that a esports team should maybe notify the organisers for before the event to check if it's okay, and then the organiser of the event could say, oh no, don't do that because we will ban you. In that scenario, you would actually, and this is the case in some other esports, the organisers will actually say to teams, look, you'd have to tell all the other teams about the exploit, but you should tell us before you do something that's incredibly novel, so that we can then tell you if it's within the boundaries of our arbitrary rules. So maybe, and I don't think they notified iRacing, but they could have done that to find out if it was okay. But there'll be people saying ultimately that Team Redline did stuff that's against the spirit of the rules of racing. And depending on how you interpret the things that occurred and how you interpret sport and what sportsmanship is and what top level sport is, will depend on how annoyed you are as to what occurred in this race, and whether or not Team Redline were cheating, whether or not they should have stayed in the race, whether or not iRacing should have banned them from the race, and who should face execution after this event. Because what's the fun of these things if nobody's hanging from a rafter? So that's the drama, really. It's incredibly boring on the grand scheme of things, and really doesn't actually affect the vast majority of sim racers. Now, where I think this is actually truly interesting is the nature of how it's funny that in this big event, obviously it's a big event, it's prestigious, so it's not that surprising, but it's funny how in this event, iRacing actually had a moderator in the server type of message. This is something that you would expect from the day-to-day racing in iRacing. I'm someone that does like 40... Well, the last month we've done 50 hours of iRacing a week. It's insane. So I get a really good overview of what iRacing is like. Super Formula Light, MX5, F4, GT3. We do a lot of iRacing, and it's blatantly apparent that iRacing has a massive issue of just outright wreckers, crashes, bad driving, and a complete lack of in-race moderation. Just like even basic moderation, of occasional moderation of iRacing having an admin occasionally go, look, that's unacceptable driving, pitting people, or just making people aware that they should be more careful. iRacing does have a penalty, it does have a system where you can report people, but you have to wait half an hour after a race, and it's just not working. It really is not working. So it's kind of weird that iRacing, with a prestigious highly visual event, actually do pop in the servers and say a message which would actually shape how things would be run in the future. So that's really, really hypocritical. But they won't change anything anyway. And then on the other side of things, I actually do think it's quite interesting that esports and this sort of top level stuff, I do think it's really great that this is the point of esports, right? For them to find certain exploits and things that your average players or even your mid to high level players wouldn't have the time or ability to find. And because let's be honest, esports, apart from the people doing it, the people winning money, is generally, especially sim racing esports, is generally incredibly dull. It's mostly with GT3 cars, it's mostly in dull simulators. We're not talking about Wreckfest esports here. It's really dull as a thing. So if you're going to justify esports, the best thing it can do is elevate things for all the other players. So the fact that Team Redline found this exploit or pushed the rules on this thing means that iRacing have to actually go, well, look, our game design for how this system works is not exactly ideal, is it? Let's see how we can actually design around this to design and make a better game. And this would be the same case when it comes to like the tyre cooling issues and other problems that have happened in iRacing. And, as I say, with other video games, the issues that occur in other video games, so Counter-Strike, I use CS2 as an example because I watch and play a lot of it, but like being able to peek through walls, being able to boost on players, or being able to do things that are not actually intended by the developer, esports teams find those things out, and it makes it so the developer can then fix it and improve the product for everybody that's playing the game, that then makes the video game a much more solid video game. And yes, sadly, racing simulators are indeed video games. Click the dislike button and unsubscribe for me saying that. So, I actually think this sort of thing is absolutely fantastic for the average player. It highlights hypocrisy. It highlights development failings. To be clear and to be fair to developers of simulators, including iRacing, keep in mind that games development is incredibly difficult, incredibly technical, incredibly time-consuming, and sim development in particular is an absolute nightmare. There's just so many variables, so many things going on, so many situations. It's going to be almost impossible for a developer to do something perfectly, and one solution often causes another problem. So, in fairness, it is very hard for developers, and don't you guys expect a developer to magically fix things or have infinite resources. But yeah, the whole point of this is that things can improve from it, and I think it's a really positive thing. Also, I would like to say, I think the events like the 24 hours of the Nurburgring event, absolutely fantastic that iRacing does these. They're really good. They do like the Indy 500, a Le Mans type event. There's you can join with your friends, you can create a team, you can waste your life for 2 days. It's the worst thing you can do in gaming, but it's actually superb. So it's really good that iRacing do stuff like that. So this sort of thing's great. I think this sort of controversy also just helps to advertise this, makes a bigger thing of it. So it's actually really, this is all really positive. That's basically my thoughts on it. A rounded view from a sexy bold man wearing racing goggles. Let me know I actually don't care what you guys say in the comments. I doubt that any of you will add anything as elegant and as precise as I have said in this video. If you can, go ahead and give it a try, but you have to drink a lot of tea to match my intellectual superiority. You really have to drink a lot of tea. But that is effectively it for this video. I look forward to the next sim racing scandal. But yeah, thanks for watching this. No editing was done in this video. This was completely low effort video. I will see you in the next live stream we do. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.